Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the On Time On Target Morning Brief, coming to you live from Clearwater Beach, Florida this morning, where it's getting up there. It's supposed to be 80 degrees today, so should be pretty nice. Picked a nice, what I think is quiet place here in the hotel resort complex. We shall see. Already there appears to be some spring break action already breaking out with some music that just started blaring. But hopefully you can hear me. Use the chat if you cannot hear me clearly, or if there's too much background music, I can switch to a headphone, but I'd prefer not to. With that, hey, welcome to a new week. We'll be here in Florida all week. A bunch of exciting market action this weekend. What we're going to talk about today is, you might have seen in the headlines that India has come out and said it's going to pass a law, which is like a bill right now, but they're going to pass a law banning Bitcoin. And obviously, if you've looked at Bitcoin this morning, it's off like 5-6% or so. So really the question now becomes is India, as well as some other countries which have already taken some action, China is one of them, against cryptocurrencies, is it still safe to hold these cryptocurrencies? Is this going to slow down cryptocurrency? Is this going to mark the end of cryptocurrency? So we're going to talk a lot about that, and of course of how that affects your portfolio and whether you should continue to hold GBTC. Also, if you look in the chat, we've got 4 or 5 names long there, 4 of which are your new includees, if you will, if that's a word, into the S&P 500. One of which is Penn Gaming, which is already kind of on fire as far as sports gambling. There's, I think, 19 states or 20 states that have it on the docket to vote on for potential legalization this year. DraftKings has taken off. Penn Gaming has already taken off. Now they're in the S&P 500. They're up 7% this morning. That will be our long of the day to watch. On the short side, of course, we have Eli Lilly. They've been trying for years for an Alzheimer's drug to help at least slow down the effects of Alzheimer's, and unfortunately, they got some I wouldn't say negative results, but less than what they were hoping for as far as results. So they're off 7% this morning. So that'll be the short of the day. If you're catching us on replay, thank you so much for checking us out. Make sure you hit the subscribe and notifications bell. If you want to join us live, feel free to do so. Love to have you. We have a chat window and a Q&A window, which you don't see here, but it's $25 a month to come on in. With that, let's go ahead and get started. See, oh, there it is. All right, welcome to March 15th, the Ides of March, if you know that reference. The articles that have come out lately about inflation being spooky and things, beware the Ides of March and inflation. So kind of a cute play on terms. But we are halfway through the month of March, almost through the first quarter of 2021, really going by fast this year. So that's pretty exciting. All right, as far as this morning, make sure you have your chat window and your Q&A window set up appropriately. As far as disclaimer, this is a financial education presentation, so make sure you do your own due diligence before acting upon anything you hear in this presentation this morning. Full disclaimer information is available at ototnow.com. All right, we're going to grow our money, protect our money, and live off our money. Our investor topic today, again, is Bitcoin being banned in India. So let's talk about that right now a little bit. So is that a big deal? On the surface, no, but then again, India is a huge country. So if India is going to start taking a hard tack against Bitcoin, China already has, to a varying degree, and maybe completely not effective That's my speculation. Since it's decentralized, are the Bitcoin people really going to listen to the government? Well, probably not until it gets to the point where the crackdown begins, right? So, at least with India, with this bill, so let's talk about that, is it's going to be illegal to own it, mine it, those sorts of things, but you're going to have 6 months to sell the assets that you have. So, when it passes, start the clock, 6 months to liquidate, and then move on from there. So, that would be, kind of an easing in versus you come in out of nowhere and all of a sudden now it's illegal. So we shall see if this thing actually passes or not. But as a reminder, I think an interesting story. All right. That an interesting story is, and I didn't remember this till I read it this morning, kind of prepping for the show, is that gold was illegal to own in the United States from 1934 to 1974. So think about that. My mind doesn't think that way. My mind has always thought, hey, gold is something. If you want it, you throw it, you buy a little ingot or whatever and put it in the safe, right? So again, for 40 years, gold was illegal. And did that stop gold? No, it did not. So, prohibition, alcohol, so, did it stop these things? No. I think you could lump Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies in the same category of it's not going to stop them, even if governments make it illegal. As far as Bitcoin, folks, I was having a conversation the other day. I don't think I mentioned it in the room, but there are countries out there where the currency is actively failing. So think Venezuela. So in Venezuela, cryptocurrencies are very useful because it actually provides a currency people can transact in. We don't think that way, but they think that way because their own fiat currency is trash. I don't think that will happen to the dollar, but certainly all of the Bitcoin, not all, one of the major attractions of Bitcoin is that people are like, well, if the dollar, which is a fiat currency, starts getting hyperinflated or goes to zero eventually, is you're going to want some Bitcoin or crypto to be able to transact. So I don't know if I necessarily believe that 100%, but I certainly do think that the argument carries merit, and we're seeing it play out in other places in the world. So pretty interesting. I think it will hit Bitcoin today as far as the price, and I think Bitcoin will be back off to the races tomorrow is how I think that'll play out. Okay, our question of the day is, what is a Form 4958? Many questions with this, and it's an IRA tracking form, and it doesn't come out until May. So people get all bent out of shape about where's my 4958 so I can file. It's like, well, actually it comes out after you file. So we'll talk a little bit more about that later on. All right, for our flow today, long, short, open, short, long, we're going to talk about the market review on the weekend where all the international markets have gone. We'll come back to the headline, take a look at our headline reviews here in the U.S. The four names we're going to take a look at are NXP, PIN, Generac, and Caesar. These are your four additions to your S&P 500, all of which are up 5 to 7% this morning. We'll get into short-term execution, only one short for you today, and that's Eli Lilly, that we talked about in the open, and then we will transition to the Q&A. Contingencies and academic resources are standard. All right, let's take a look at TD Ameritrade Think Pipes and show you where we've been for the year. All right, here's some kids at the pool now, so certainly chime in on the chat if you have trouble hearing me, and I will speak louder for this morning. Okay, our quote monitor there, you can see this is the S&P 500 for the last 9 months. Still in an uptrend, despite the sell-off from what seems like yesterday, but it's really been a week and a half from now where we had that big sell-off. Things are, kind of going back higher, and the NASDAQ has stabilized, which again is where a lot of your tech is. When you zoom in though on the S&P 500, look at this bounce. So we are exactly where we were, and I zoomed out a little bit here so you could see that this is, trying to find the date, February 16th. So 1 month ago, this is the level we were at in the S&P 500. So pretty big dip. Yeah, that got everybody excited. We're already back there, and the Dow's making new highs. Okay, sounds good. Thank you for the feedback there, Predator, on the noise level. Appreciate that. Okay, let us take a look at, and then as far as getting set up, remote ops again. I only have 3 screens instead of the normal 4 available, so it'll be S&P and then PIN long and then Lilly short is how we will be set up there. All right, let's take a look at the headlines for the day. Going back to, get rid of this, going back to CNBC.com. All right, futures in the green. We'll refresh this real quick. Okay, futures in the green for the US here. Let's take a look around the world. Click air, that was on pre-market data. All right, Asia, China's down a little bit. Everything else is in the green. Europe was in the green across the board last time I looked, still is. Here's our numbers from Friday. NASDAQ down a little bit. Volatility is down significantly. So if you're into VXX, you're looking at it south of 14 this morning. So again, dropping off significantly there. All right, bond world up at 1.6. I thought that had faded some this morning, but it appears to have popped back up. Again, Fed meeting this week, so that will be what everyone will be talking about pretty much. As far as oil, still stabilized above that 40 to 60 range. Gold and silver both getting some love this morning. And then crypto, as we talked about, down 5%. Okay, it's down to 57,000, so I'm not all that worried about where crypto stands. All right, let's take a look at some of the headlines that are out there. Fauci on fire. He's about to be, I think, irrelevant once this thing moves on, but he's still getting some press out there. Stripe is going to go IPO probably by the end of the year. It would be the largest IPO ever, almost $1 trillion company. This is kind of one of the few times I had actually looked at a headline and went, "Oh crap! I guess we are getting pretty frothy." To think Stripe, which I use for my website to sell my merch, which is gear. It works very well. It's it's super easy to use. It's cheaper than Shopify or some of the higher end sort of things there, but I'm not sure it's $1 trillion company. Now, if everybody out there has 2 or 3 websites and they're all selling merch, then maybe it is. But goodness, that's a huge valuation on Stripe. So kind of surprised about that. All right. Elon Musk picked up some titles this weekend. Techno King of Tesla is one of them. All right, Grammys last night and a bunch of drama came out of that if you're into drama. Checks are going out. If you're in the zone to get some checks, expect that you either got it this weekend or in the next 2 days. You'll get it the same way you got it last time. So if you got it in the mail, expect that. If you got a direct deposit, expect that. There is a website to be able to track it if you are curious. Okay, let's take a look over at this is the Bitcoin Trust, the GBTC that we're in. Again, it's in here at $50. That's going to get hit today. So if you've been waiting for that below 50 moment to go in, you're going to get it today. All right, let's look at some other names out there. I promised we would look at Penn Gaming. So let's take a look at that real quick. Now, Penn has been on fire largely since the election because of the, pro gambling stance. So here's your election time frame, basically at what 50, and it's now at 130, so 160% gain since the election, which is a lot. But again, if legalization happens, I think we're at, I don't know, around 15 to 20 states right now. Another 15 to 20 are taking a look at it, including Texas. So California is delaying, and I can't remember the exact reason why, but I think they're going to put it on the ticket later on for some reason. But expect that to happen in California as well. And I mean, that's pretty huge. So people are doing it anyway, so why not legalize it and tax it? So here's where Penn is hitting new highs. It will also hit new highs again today. A couple of the other names that are out there, NXP. There's issues in the, NXP, which is Nuveen. That's not correct. It's NXPI. So ticker confusion there on my part. NXPI is the ticker. NXP is the company, semiconductor firm. So again, shortage in semiconductors. Micron's been on fire. They're having supply chain issues, but that's only going to help them increase the prices and pass that on to their customers is my anticipation there as well. Caesars is the last one I'll talk about for the names that are getting put into the S&P 500. You can see since the election, it was down here at 45. It's up over 100 now, so a nice double. Again, it's part of the opening trade, and I think that if you're going to go into a casino, Caesar's pretty good. Las Vegas Sands is pretty good as well. Not a bad place to have money. And another long this morning is AAL, which is American Airlines. I do not like airlines as far as investments, but if you wanted to trade, make it a day trade, I have no problem with that. Okay, let's go over to TD Ameritrade and get set up for the open. Again, we have 5 longs in the chat room. I'll hit those again for the name just showed up. 5 longs, 1 short. There they are. I'm focusing mostly on Penn long and a Lilly short. Again, we only have the 3 pains to work with this morning. All right, give me a second and we will get set up for the open. All right, good morning, everyone. Welcome to the On Time, On Target play of the day. You have 3 screens in front of you. On the far left screen, you have a 1-minute chart in the SPY, which is the S&P 500. In the middle chart, if you will, that's Penn Gaming, PENN. They just got put into the S&P 500 as of today. They've already gapped up 7%. They have over 100,000 shares, so it meets all of our criteria. And then on the far right, we have Lilly, which is the company Eli Lilly. Just been working on an Alzheimer's drug for a long time, and they've had some, not the results that they were expecting. So that sold off. It's down about 7%, and you can see it falling down there. So here's the opening bell right now. All right, you just heard the opening bell. We're going to go ahead and zoom in on these 3 charts if I can do it. There you go. So again, looking at Penn long and Lilly short. Confirm our windows. Yep, Penn's still up 6%, Lilly down 8%. Lilly's kind of dropping like a rock, so it's going to be tough to get an entry on that unless it backs up. However, I do like Penn long here, be using $1. I'm thinking of the stop as $1, but it's already down here at $1.50 level if we were to cover the low of the day. I'd rather use $1 stop. We're going to take it at 139. There's 139. So we're into the trade at 139. We're going to use $1 stop down here to 138. And then, of course, our exit point is going to be up here at 142. So thinking 140 for the first R unit. Hard to draw on this little screen. 141 for the second R unit. And then the third R unit is off of the screen. See if I can get an arrow here. You can still take this here. It's right around our entry point. World's worst arrow, but at least it's letting me draw it. So we are in the Penn Gaming trade long, right around the entry points. Again, you can still take it here. All right, as far as Lilly, what's going on there? It did the big drops. You really can't take it short here right now because it moved down so much. So we're going to switch out of Lilly, look at some of the other long names. So thinking long now on the right-hand screen, NXPI. There's your up 8% on the inclusion into the S&P 500. That was my second favorite, so it'd be about the same as far as the entry points. It'd be in the green, just not a whole lot in the green. Generac is our next one, GNRC. Up us, well, nope, it's about even there for its inclusion in the S&P 500. And the last one is Caesar, CZR. Let's see what's going on there. Up 4%, not nearly the volume that the other two have. I'm going to have to take a look. I'm making my notes. I need to probably start buying into casino stock. And I don't know if Caesars is the best one or LVS or MGM, but I certainly need to look. The only exposure I have to gambling right now is really pretty heavy into DraftKings, which I like. Obviously, that's been a 500% gain already and still keeps going higher every day, but that won't last forever, right? So we got to kind of see. All right, American Airlines will be representative today of the other airlines. See where it is, up 6%. The reason the airlines are up is the numbers came out. They're basically maxing out their capacity now because they reduced capacity, so they're maxing out the airlines. I've flown Southwest twice in the past 4 days, and the middle seats are now occupied, and it's a completely full flight. So you do have to wear your mask the whole time, but as far as the you don't get any space from anybody. That's for darn sure. So it's enjoy the flying thing. We're Delta on the way back from our deployed location here. So we'll see how Delta treats us. Okay, so our trade, we're looking good in the trade. We're up almost an R. Or at least we're in the green. It looks like it's holding this 139 level. Well, of course, I say that, it dips right back down to it. So we're going to check back on that trade. If you're in it, have it pulled up on another screen, because I'm going to switch off to see what's going on in the larger market. So, well, no, I leave it right at the wrong time, right? So, all right, up over 140. We certainly like that. Again, we're going to check back on that. 142 is your exit, 142. Okay, let's take a look here at what's going on in the bigger picture. CLXPF and Icon are up 5%. Clickstream up a little bit. Laser, again, is the light detection ranging company out there. Delta, that's an airline. Boeing, unbelievably on fire. Almost to the point where I think I need to actually start selling some. I mean, it has been ridiculous. So I'm going to take a hard look at that today to see what the game plan is for Boeing. Cannot buy it here at all. So I don't know if it's a sell. I have to look. All right, Lowe's up, Lockheed Martin's up, Facebook up. So a lot of names in the green here. Let's see who we've got for the red. Looks like DraftKings. Okay, so why would DraftKings be in the red when Penn is up so much? That's a pair trade, right? So it's a long short. So if you can think of it as a money flow issue, of Penn is going into the S&P 500. People want to try to capture the 7% gain. They still want their exposure to sports gambling. So why not take profits in DraftKings and transition them over to Penn Gaming? So that's where that money's coming from. It's like a Coke Pepsi or a Lowe's Home Depot. The money has to come from somewhere, and it's coming from a like source, if you will. All right, I see Baba up here. Obviously, you saw probably a headline this weekend. I didn't see it on CNBC, but negativity associated with Chinese tech. A lot of the firms got hit by the Chinese government. I don't know the exact story, but I do know that pretty much all the tech names are in the red. There's Baba, K-Web is down here, is bouncing around somewhere. JD, IQ, Tencent, all those names have been hit again. It's almost to the point to where about time to load up. So I'm going to take a look at Tencent and IQ again today. JD as well. I used to hold JD. Luckin Coffee's obviously a little bit in the red here, even though it's not really affected as the others, as much as the others. All right, let's check back at our trade. All right, up almost to the 2R point. So we will pivot away from that and look at, again, 142 is your exit. Let's take a look at our question of the day. This is not a very long question, but what is this 5498 form that comes out? So form 5498. Okay, so it's an IRA tracking form. So when you put money into an IRA, that money has to be tracked somehow, right? So the way they do that is through this form 5498, and they do it after your taxes come out. So here we go. Let's see what they said. If you have an IRA, you receive 5498. It reports contributions, rollovers, conversions, and RMDs to the IRS. So basically, money in or money out, and it also has a fair market value on there. And if you don't, unless you have an inherited IRA, which most of you don't, right? That's how that, well, a required minimum distribution is based off of the value of the account on the 31st of December of the prior year. So when 2020 closed, that set the RMD value, or the full market value of that account. And then all your required minimum distributions are calculated off of that one amount. So it's not a moving target throughout the year. So that's why that's on there. For somebody like me, for somebody who's either 72 or older that has to take the required minimum distributions, or an inherited IRA where even doesn't matter your age, once you inherit it, then you have a set of rules that applies for you to be able to take that money out. It sets the fence for me for that value. And again, that's populated in the brokerage. I do some quick calculations and then make sure that somebody takes the required minimum distributions based off of that. Okay, so it's not going to come to you until after the season closes. So what happens to a lot of people is they will go to either TD Ameritrade or Schwab. They will search for their tax form and it will say, last year you got a 5498, and then they will delay filing their taxes because they don't have the required form. PIN executed. Excellent. Let's see. Check back to the trade while we're talking. All right, right at 142. Nice. So nice. Yep, 142. Nice. We'll get this drawn in here. And hey, look at it falling back. So we picked the exact right exit point there. So thanks, Burner, for chiming in there. So successful trade, 3R trade on the day. Okay, closing that out. Then we'll get back to our question of the day. So back to this 5498. So don't wait on it, right? If you're doing a Roth if you do a backdoor Roth IRA every year, you're going to get a couple forms. You're going to get a 5498 for your contribution to your IRA. Then you're going to get a 1099R, which is the conversion, which is a distribution technically, out of your traditional IRA into your Roth IRA. So anyhow, those are the forms that you're going to get there. And also that's annotated on your 5498 that money has gone back out. So, all right, that's all I've got for you today. Good job on the trade there, Burner. Looks like you made a 3R morning for a Monday morning. That's good because Mondays are tough, right? All right, well, we will see you. We're going to go wake up the family and hit the beach. And, probably try for me not to get sunburned with my pale skin. But thanks. Good briefing this morning. If you have any feedback for me, whether you could hear me or not, anyhow, feel free to provide some feedback through a text message. With that, I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.